The Crow Dog himself.
How's the man? The Crow Dog, so they call me.
Nobody calls you that today.
No, nobody. But I've been trying to convince people to call me that for years. And I think I'm going to convince you. So you're my first.
Do you know, I'm going to continue now.
Thank you very much.
To the point where you'll be so sick that you actually asked me to do it.
Thank you.
Oh, great, the Crow Dog.
The Crow Dog. Honestly.
But you need to get a motorbike if you're going to be called Crow Dog.
You know what? I just got my driving license a couple of months ago after 10 years, and I was very convinced.
Well done, because as an actor, they're adverse. A lot of actors and weirdly stand-ups as well, adverse to actually going and getting a license.
Yeah, I don't know what it is because we probably need it more than anyone. But companies make it very difficult as well. Like you can't get insurance if you tell someone you're an actor.
I know. I'm still a civil engineer.
Yeah, I'm a teacher. But no. So it took me so long that I was convinced that I was just never going to get it. So I was very tempted in getting a motorcycle instead. So anyway, all to play for.
So you've the jacket and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got it all, man.
With the Crow Dogs across the
Crow Dog. Yes. Got the jacket, got the shades. No, I'm a dangerous man.
Yeah. Are you Crowley or Crowley?
Well, actually, I've kind of given up on that now. I used to be Crowley, and if anyone did call me Crowley, I'd be very quick to correct them and say it's actually Crowley. And then I discovered that my granddad referred to himself as Crowley.
Is he from Cork then?
He's a Cork man, yeah. So it doesn't really make a difference anymore to me, really. I grew up Crowley, so like if you're going to pick one, I would say Crowley.
But that's maturity, Davey. You know what I mean? That's...
Yeah. No, I know, but I think I deserve it. I'm 28 years old now, and you know, I think especially with Crow Dog, like I don't want to be called the Crow Dog. So yeah, we'll keep it Crowley.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same bite to it, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
What do you expect Crow Dog to be driving? Like, you know, in the way of a motorbike, it's not going to be something.
He's not
class.
driving. He's a scooter or something like one of those micro scooters.
I do know a fella that started a motorbike gang, and he so vehemently believed in it too. Like he genuinely thought he was pure Sons of Anarchy. This guy that he gave it a name, designed a patch.
A motorbike gang in Ireland?
Yeah.
Really?
And there are parts, there are legs of the American ones. Like there's a Hells Angels here. There's a 1%ers Club, like which I don't know is an anal sex or something with a goat or something. I don't know what 1% is like. To get into it, I don't know. But he would set up his own one. But the problem was he set it up with two blokes who didn't have a motorbike. He was the only one with a motorbike between the three of them. Like, so it was.
That's the best he could do.
Yeah, like I mean, a sidecar maybe, and just sit a lad up behind you. But I suppose you're a gang then, aren't you?
So what? They just got on the back of his bike.
I suppose, yeah. They had to. Well, two of them couldn't get on at the same time. Like it's not India. Like you know what I mean? Just.
Do you have his number?
Crow Dog meets.
New Year's resolution coming on there.
That's
definitely.
You're dropping out of the actors. The Actors Guild.
I'm ready to try anything at this stage. Yeah.
And so just to give people a context, I'll have done a bit of an intro before this, but to give a bit of a context, do you know what? I'm not even going to do an intro for today's one because I'm going to actually go back to the dressing room and put this up. So just to give a heads up to everybody, this is episode 88. You're all very welcome for Friday. What date is today, Davey?
Today is Friday, yes.
Yeah, today is Friday, the something of December 2018.
14th.
The 14th, there you are. And it's thank you all to the Patreons, by the way. Fair play to you. Thank you all very much. Davey, it's a great way to go. No. Patreon, people that appreciate your shit.
No, fair play to them.
They're jumping on every week paying. Thank you very, very much. I'll put the link in the description for anybody who has any questions about it. But you do get free shit. So today there will be an episode of the back catalogue of the Tom and Jerry show going up for Patreons only. And there will be an ad-free version going up on Patreon if ads are a thing that fucking melt your brain. But getting back to it, Davey, myself and yourself first met because we did Damo and Ivor.
Yeah. No, we had a lot of fun doing that. Can you believe that was probably 5 years ago?
5 years ago, yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah.
And here we are, reunited.
Reunited in stage form.
In stage form. Oh yes, we are. Oh yes, we are.
That was good. It was good crack. Like it was, but it was. How did David how much acting? Did you go straight to art college, like, or what did you do? Like?
Yeah. So, I grew up. I kind of went to. Drama school, Benny Ann Norton Theatre School, and then I did.
Where's that?
Benny Ann Norton. She had a place in St. Louis and Rathmines, and I'm one of 7 kids, so we were all kind of our parents would do anything to kind of get us out of the house, and so they
7 of you?
Yeah, I'm one of 7.
By Jesus.
I'm the middle child.
You could start a motorbike gang.
I know, yeah. That's not a bad idea, actually. So I have 4 brothers, 2 sisters. The Crow Dogs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But so 7 of you get you out of the house.
Yeah, and then I just kind of loved it. I always kind of kept it up, and the idea of ever doing it as a profession was something that kind of struck me when I probably went to. I did a course over in New York in Lee Strasberg Theatre School when I was about 16, and I just fell in love with the arts in general. And then when I was 18, I applied for drama school, and I got into LAMDA, the London Academy of Music Dramatic Art, and I studied there for 3 years, and then I've just kind of been grafting away since,
And you're kind of like, in fairness to you, you're a blokey bloke. LAMDA, I've met a few people from LAMDA, and they were of the softer nature of folk. Do you know what I mean? Like
they are, yeah.
They were. No, not that I didn't get on with them, but it was we jarred, but it was oil and water at the time. It genuinely was. It was like we're not meeting each other on any platform whatsoever that we can have a conversation on, because they seemed like a soft nature, but.
Yeah, they're an odd bunch. I just think actors are the oddest people you'll ever meet anyway.
Jesus,
I just think we are the oddest bunch of people. I know from my year in LAMDA, we out of the 28 people in my year, you're with these people day in, day out for 3 years, and we're all just a bunch of idiots, really, with their own kind of egos coming into it. And I think I don't know. I think LAMDA in particular, they kind of. I mean, we had people from America, Scotland. I was like the only Irish guy in my year. And it was, you just kind of get a very mixed bag of people. But, like, I just think, for me, coming from a kind of a background where I kind of just did acting, every Saturday afternoon, going into an environment of 28 very kind of
intense, probably.
You were having a very intense environment. I was having the crack. Like I was loving it, and I absolutely loved my time in drama school, and I learned an awful lot, and I had some great teachers. But I was ready to get out of there once it finished. Like I literally was looking for that motorbike to get the feck out of it, because I just couldn't. You kind of get to know your own classmates better than you know your own family. Like you go through an awful lot, and it can be quite emotionally exhausting, the acting game, especially going into our final year where everybody's trying to get one up and everyone trying to get agents, trying to get signed, and it was just something that I loved. But I was ready to leave. It was I think as an actor, I probably learned most once I left drama school in a way. Just I don't think you can prepare yourself in any way for this industry until you actually face it head on. So
until rent is due as a result of this industry.
Exactly. I think certainly you learn. I learned a lot as an actor when I was there, but in terms of the actual industry itself, I don't think anything can prepare you for that.
No, it's like I had no idea I still don't know what the fuck I'm
doing.
I'm just kind of winging it. And,
I mean, I have a lot of admiration for comedians in general. Like that's a whole different ball game. Like
it's an odd one. It is an odd one to want to do that, to stand by yourself with no writing with it. Like there's nobody to play. I tell you, it is good if you ever had a massive ego. It's a fucking good one. Yeah, it's some leveler, I can tell you.
Why? Yeah, it just puts you back in your box almost.
And even if you're doing very well, as a result of the stuff there's always the fear in the back of your head, like you're going, there's only me that wrote this, like, you know what I mean? Unless you're getting to, like, unless you're a lunatic or you're getting into arena style stuff, like, where you can start patting yourself in the back. But you're only really as good as and genuinely, because, like, I was talking about it on the podcast, it's almost become legendary at this stage. Just a gig a couple of weeks ago where it was just horrendous.
Really?
And I hadn't had a horrendous gig in about 250 gigs.
Jesus.
Like. And you slip into a mode, you're like,
and what is it? Is it the audience weren't right?
This particular situation, everything wasn't right.
Really?
It was the room wasn't right. It was the wrong environment, the wrong time. I shouldn't have been booked for it. It was there was nothing going for it other than it was actually on planet Earth. Really? That was about it. That was about it. There was nothing right for it.
Man.
But and then the following night, it was like therapy. I was in the most gorgeous little comedy club down in Cork, and I was like, "Oh, I need this. This is a warm blanket." I didn't want to come off the stage because I'd actually been emotionally had the shit punched out of me.
Yeah.
And it was me that did it to me, like, because you're driving up the road going, "Motherfucker."
And when that happens, is it tough to get back the next time, or are you just so immune to it now?
You have a process before you're down for a few days, like you're going, "Motherfucker, everything's wrong with the world." Like, but now you have a process that. It's good to have a decent long drive after it.
Yeah.
On a motorway, you're just cruising, and now it's like mental maturity and stage maturity where you can kind of go, fuck that. That wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
You know, and because you take the good with the bad, you go, oh no, I did a good thing there, or I did a bad thing, but this one was just so out of my hands, and I just couldn't wait to get on the stage to follow and like to just wash it out of my system. And quite literally, that was my opening 5 minutes was talking about the gig the night before.
Well, that's what they love to hear.
And I think people enjoyed it. They were like, go on, tell us.
Yeah.
Because they felt like they were my doctors then, you know what I mean? Like,
great.
it was great. I actually signed off. The other day even was like, that has been therapeutic, Cork. Thank you very much and good night. And just, it was.
I used to, as a little in-between job, I used to sing in a wedding band. It was an 80s tribute band.
I remember you telling me this on season 2 of Damo and Ivor.
Yeah.
When we became pals. And we were our characters. You were Oisinn. Just to clarify this, you were Oisinn. You were prize prick in both seasons, but then I turned prize prick in the second season, joining your ranks.
You came on to the dark side.
I came to the dark side. I remember you telling me that we were getting a bus to lunch, and you were asking me, how's this comedy going? Sure, I mean, everybody's struggling all the fucking time, like, but I was going, tipping away, and what are you up to? I'm singing in there. And it was like, man. What? I just couldn't put it together, because had you told me anything other than that, I was like, hey.
An 80s tribute band. I dressed up as in that iconic Top Gun uniform, and so at least I had that to hide behind. And I sing 80s songs from the 80s, and they're very popular. But we had I hadn't sung with them for about 3 years, 3 or 4 years, and only this time last year I got a call up from one of the guys who runs the band and says, "Hi Dave, this is so and so from the wedding band, and we need you tonight. Are you available?" I said, what are you talking about?
Do you know what? That would have been so much better had like a theme tune just kicked in right as he said, "When I need you." Do you know what I mean? "I need you tonight, Dave."
I know.
And like,
I could hear it, man. I could hear it, but I had absolutely no intention, because I didn't know any of the songs anymore. It was after 3 years, and they said that there was another band who dropped out of a gig the previous week, and it was all over the paper, and it was really bad press for them, and they couldn't take no for an answer. But their lead singer was in hospital; he was very ill, and I made up some excuse at the time. I said, "Look, I'm not in Dublin at the minute." And then the conscience got the better of me, and as I put the phone down, I realised that they were actually screwed. But I had no idea of what the songs were. But yet the gig was in 2.5 hours. So
is that evening?
Yeah. It was that evening in Arklow, yeah. So I called them back up. I said, "You know what? I can actually, fuck it, I'll do it." And the scream on the phone. And I said, "But hold on a second, man. I don't know any of the words." He's like, "Oh, we'll get through. You'll wing it." So I went out and I just started singing my own lyrics. And I think I have a kind of talent for that. I just, it was...
what was the first song?
"Call Me Al" was the first one, and that the songs. I don't know any of the words of that
Chevy
song.
Chase was in the video. That one.
Yeah. Man, if you be my bodyguard, but I literally was singing. "Man, what's that she say? Why so simple? Yeah, why so sick of on me? You got bone dig, I wasn't saying any words.
So you turned a bit Michael Jackson.
Yeah. No, exactly. And then Bruce Springsteen came on, and I started singing. "I get up in my heaven, and you got you bed, and you know I get up on my bed now," and I'm not saying any words whatsoever, and we got away with it. Everybody was so drunk, in the words I didn't know, I put the mic to the.
Richie is back in our dressing room. That was Conless, the producer there, looking for Richie Hayes, friend of the podcast also.
But back to that. There was no. I didn't know any of the words, and I got the crowd to sing the songs I didn't know. I just put the mic to them, and I got away with it. And so I stayed. And that was the last time I sang with them. But why I brought that up was because the reason why I hated that job was because I was the front man. The manager would come up and just go, "Oh yeah, and just warm up the crowd a bit. Tell a few jokes." And it's just. with the ease he said, just go on, tell a few jokes in between the songs. I was just like, it's not that fucking easy. I can't just go out and tell a few jokes. So every time the song ends, there was always, while they were preparing for the next set, because it's not they just don't play a whole set through. They stop every 1 or 2 songs for about a minute or two, and I have to go and chat to the bride, or chat to the crowd, and that was the most difficult bit that was the part I hated, because I felt like, oh no, it's not. You can't just make a room of people laugh. Like, it's not that.
And to be honest with you, in certain environments, like that to me even sounds like a difficult environment. Like, you can have some throwaway stuff that'll work and all the rest, but if it isn't the environment, like the amount of people that ask me, would you do a wedding now for me? I'm like, not a Christ in hope.
Gosh,
You think I'm going to start? I need my jokes aren't the sort, they're not throwaway dick jokes anyway. So it's not going to work if people are scoffing their dinner. I need every bit of you.
No, exactly,
You know what I mean? And there's...
But that's a difficulty of a wedding. It's just everybody is doing their own thing, and you can't really engage with the crowd. It's not, they're not all sitting there waiting, listening to you.
The only way I could see that working is, and there's 2 friends of mine, they have, I don't think they do weddings anymore, but they're a comedy duo. And as a duo, they can kind of gang up on gangs. Do you know what I mean? Look at the head and you're on, and you're on, and it's back and forth. So people don't feel like they're being victimized, because the lads are kind of having a gas themselves, and then they turn to the situation. So it's kind of a bit easier on the eye, and as well on the kind of ears. But if it's just one fella going, hey, what's the deal with your big tits? It's like,
Jesus.
Do you know, like there's no in or out to it. Like there's Jesus, there's a couple of guys, and that's all they do is they specialise in weddings. And
really, I've never seen it.
There's one in particular, like I'm not going to name him, like, and he's a fucking cowboy. I remember I got somebody sent me on a link. They'd videoed him at a wedding, and he'd lifted a bit of mine. That was absolutely mine. And I just sent an email saying, remove that or I'll remove your fucking head.
Oh, Jesus.
And I don't know whether he did or he didn't, but that was there was no solicitor's letters being threatened. It was just remove that or your head's coming off.
That must be so frustrating, isn't it?
But like, I mean, I recognised a bunch of his stuff. Apparently he darkened the door of a comedy club a few times, because you can't just come up. This stuff just won't work on the spot.
No.
So it has to be worked out. So even the biggest names have to do like 10 spots and 5 spots in clubs. Like you'd see Delamere, like he'll pop up all over the place, not for payment or anything, but in small clubs he'll just pop up and go, I'll do. He won't be headline. He'll just jump in the middle and go, I have a new bit there, 10 minutes. And he's working out his hour show for the season, like. And so you couldn't possibly, like, if people go, oh, I know a comedian there, and if I don't know him, then he's not working. He or she is not working in the business. They're lifting somebody's jokes or doing something wrong, because you got to be. If it's original material, you have to be working it out, like. And this guy apparently he did the Laughter Lounge one time, and Paddy Courtney was hosting, and he went off. He did his bit, whatever. I don't know, did he do a 20-minute spot or 15-minute spot? And he went off, and he actually went, so give it a round of applause for, and he didn't name him. He named all the comedians whose material he lifted.
Really?
Yeah, that was the last he'd been seen in the comedy club. Like,
fair play to him.
That had to be done. Like,
but what happens if you get to... I mean, do you always have to check then? If you come up with your own content, you have to make sure, I need to make sure that nobody else has done this.
To be fair, my style too is fairly kind of my style. So, I mean, we are going to talk about certain things that... You know what I mean? There's
of course.
You can't avoid every subject.
Yeah, of course.
But I have at this stage, and it takes about 5 or 6 years, and I don't give a shite what people say. And look, you will hear of comedians that have been put to the fore and are doing well, but in inverted commas. But they haven't. After 3 years, you certainly haven't found your voice yet. Like they say, 10 years. I'm lucky. I'm about 8.5 years, and I've hit a vein about 7 years in. And even Spainer, like Carl Spain, who'd be one of my peers, and he definitely would be. He'd be I suppose he'd be nearly a philosopher of comedy. He knows every comedian, every joke that was ever told. He's unbelievable. Wow. And even he pointed out, he goes, "No, you've hit it. There you go. You weren't there last year, but you're there this." So from him to say it, and a few others like the likes of Delamere went, you're in the club now. Yeah. So, but that's finding your own voice. So you'll see, like, there's times when you're hearing, you're going, amazing, only 2 years on it. You watch it, and as a comedian, you're going, wow. Yeah. I can spot gaping holes all over that. Like, if they fill in a certain criteria, but which is essential these days, you gotta be from some sort of a minority background of some sort of a way. Like, you've got a gammy ear, or you wear a club foot with an orthopedic shoe. That gets you right to the top of the list these days. Like, what I mean?
It's mad, isn't it? But I'm sure there's so much, like, I say this. I mean, the comedy scene in Ireland, like, I say a lot of it is just hard, like traveling, going to different places.
Yeah, the business. The telling the jokes is easy. It's the business, and it's like, and you almost have to be kind of blind to it. Like, if you're a very sensitive soul, like, you're not going to. I don't think so. Anyway, I don't think it would work. Like, if you're you have to almost just kind of pull over the blinkers, like, but you have to have an out.
Yes.
Because if you immerse yourself continuously in it, you'll wind your head up, and that's why I hunt and stuff like that, and just because I have to. Or you go mental.
You need it, yeah.
But you'd find, but getting back to your checking, like, I've had a few people, like, the odd time, and you go, fellas done one kind of similar to that, and I go and see it and go, granted, and or it happened actually. I remember one time, who was it? Who was it? It was myself in Spain. I can't remember who it was, but the two of us had not similar, but it was a subject, and it was heading in the same direction. We both come to the same conclusion, essentially, somewhat, and we kind of we more or less flipped for it and went, so, do you want it?
Oh, really?
And I gave it away to you have it.
Go on.
But then karma comes around. There was the following night. It was just backstage, myself and brilliant stand-up comedian. I wish she'd actually do more. Aidy McQueen is her name. I think she's a moon tour in the Gael School. I think she just doesn't do enough of it. But she's very, like, even following her on Facebook or Twitter, her fucking tweets are hilarious.
Yeah,
like, it's so, like. But we worked out a joke by accident, just to and fro with each other. And she went, "You have that." Because you would do a better job. You do that justice more than I would. And I was cheers. So that's, so. Yeah. But that's kind of when you get to you weed out the fucking clowns. Like anything. You stop. You just don't associate with the people that give you a dose. Like.
I love a night out at the International Comedy Club. I just think it is, like, it's brilliant. Like, it's fantastic. I mean, you're always in for a treat. Like. Yeah. No, exactly. One of my favourite shows I ever did was called The Egypt of Love, which was in the Edinburgh at the time of the comedy festival, and I just think it's like the best trip you can give yourself going to the Edinburgh Comedy Festival. The talent out there with different stand-ups, I just love it. Like,
and there's a bizarre collection. Even if you get to a point in the day and you've been to see like 5 comedians or whatever, you got, you know what, let's see some spoken word. There will be that too.
Exactly.
I mean? Like, it's like,
and you see some people die out there as well.
Oh yeah,
God, I've been in some audiences where I almost have to force myself to laugh to try and save them the pain.
Yeah, there's a few sheesh moments. All right.
Oh God. Yeah.
But and you went then. The last thing people would recognise you from, telly-wise, I suppose, is a Red Rock.
Yes,
you were in a gazillion episodes of Red Rock.
I've done probably as many episodes as you done of podcasts. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, I think probably 160 now episodes. Yeah,
Jesus,
done it for 3 years. Yeah, so yeah, I was living in London at the time, and it came at a really great time because I kind of had enough of London. Like, I was there for 5 years, and after I graduated drama school, I was just kind of working in a pub for a couple of years, and then just Red Rock came about, and one thing led to another, and all of a sudden I was signing a 2-year contract, moving back to Dublin, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I think in my 20s, like, I just had a ball and learned so much, and it was to
anybody, because we get a lot of Swedish listeners. Red Rock is based around the police force here in Ireland. Also known as An Gardaí Síochána.
There we go.
And what was, like, because you, like, do you know any guards? How did you, like? Not
really. Like, I kind of, it was, I'll never forget that first day of putting on the actual uniform. Going, who the hell is going to believe that I'm a guard? But I think what Red Rock was, I think the reason why people liked it was because it wasn't really a show about the guards, the Garda Síochána. It was more a show about really interesting and dynamic characters that happened to be guards, as opposed to, I think
it wasn't
when it first came out, I think there were any guards who watched the show were always like, they didn't. No, I've actually met some guards who've loved the show, but in the beginning it's like, oh, we don't do that here, and you're not doing that right, or they're spotting the mistakes, but it was just I think it just happened. It was a crime show which was based in a police station with, but it also had a balance of families in the town of Red Rock as well. So, in the start, it took us a while. I felt in the first season anyway to grasp the kind of quality of the show it was. It was kind of going down different avenues. Okay, well, it's based on spending time with the families, less out of the police station. Then it came back and was focusing a lot more on the police station. And there were always episodes, and I was like, oh God, what are we doing here? But by the time we kind of got halfway through the first season, we really found our feet with it. We had great writers, great cast. And the creator himself, Peter McKenna, and a great team with Element Pictures producing it. So it was, it was a shame the way it ended when it did.
Yeah. Why did it? Was it funding or what was it?
I think it was.
Was the changeover coming between TV3 and Virgin? I think was that.
Well, I actually don't know if that had much of an impact. I think as a business model, it wasn't the most lubricant. Like it was. You're talking about a show which probably cost $6 or $7 million a year.
Yeah.
And I think although it did well in terms of being sold to the BBC, it went to Amazon Prime. I think as a business model, it wasn't getting the results that it needed to survive. I think when you look at the likes of a show like Gogglebox, for instance, Gogglebox Ireland,
product placement,
product placement, and which costs an absolute fraction of the price of Red Rock would cost, it's probably getting double the viewership. It's not easy to listen to because you're kind of like, it's such a shame because it was such a great platform for kind of new directors and new actors, and just for the Irish film industry in general. But look, we can't sit back and complain saying, why didn't it go on? I'm just thankful that it happened in the first place. And I got 160 episodes. And I think my time was probably coming to an end anyway after the last season. I felt like, I've done this now. And I think as an actor, in your early years, you kind of have to try and be as versatile as possible and do as many things as possible. I know, and it's very easy to get comfortable because when you're deprived of work for a long period of time, you get it and you want to latch on to it, but at the same time, everything comes to an end eventually. And I think for me, it was, on a personal level, I was, it didn't break my heart that it finished, because I thought I was finishing, but I was coming to an end with it anyway. But I think, as a whole, and all the people who were involved in it, I think it had over 100 people working it at any given time. That's when my kind of heart breaks, and I kind of look at what it did for the industry in general over here, because we don't get a lot of consistent drama in Ireland, and when it does come around, it goes away again very quickly. And that was just a lovely consistency we had for 3 years.
I think it was a surprise for everybody. It was like, oh, cool. Making a
drama
here in Ireland.
And a drama that was succeeding and doing very well. We didn't get within Ireland. We weren't getting huge ratings. Fair City was doubling our viewing figures, but the people who watched it loved it. Like they really do. Like we had some great fans. And I think we have 10 episodes now that have been filmed. They're filmed about over a year ago that are going out in the new year, and I think that will kind of slowly bring it to an end. But saying that, the press release saying it is on a hiatus, there is a chance that it may come back. I wouldn't put money on it, but there is a possibility. Who knows? I can't predict.
I have a business proposition.
Oh, go on.
My friend, and it's her father owns an engineering firm in Monaghan, and they just a couple of years ago bought a very successful trailer company called Red Rock.
You're kidding.
I could put you in with
wow.
Mickey Core is up there. He was at the Ploughing Championship, and because it's actually hilarious. It's such an iconic brand because they've been around for years, but they were struggling, and he bought them up, and he brought them back up again. And because they're such an iconic brand, Red Rock, they make the best of everything in the way of trailers, things, accoutrements that go with tractors.
Go on.
They make like front loaders and stuff like that. Like young guys who are fucking really into that stuff, because there's people it's anoraks for everything. Like, when you go to the Ploughing Championship, you see guys who know everybody. But there was like a queue to meet him.
Really?
I was, because Jenny was texting going, pop over to Mickey, because I was working at it for Bus Air, and pop over to Mickey. And I was like, I can't. He has a ton of fanboys around him. So Mickey is making some good dollars.
Come on,
so
Mickey.
I think Mickey might, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a sponsor for us now.
Red Rock, we're going to sponsor Red Rock.
Yeah.
Now, you will all be wearing Red Rock gear, for sure.
Bring it on.
Branded everything will be branded. There just happen to be tractors passing at
100%.
every outdoor scene.
We had some product placement in like some daft stuff. We were sponsored by, I think, Lions Tea in the first year. So every time we had a cup of tea, it was a Lions cup, which was angled perfectly towards camera.
Do you know nowadays
the Daily Mail, so we had to take out the Daily Mail every once in a while. Anytime a character was reading a paper, it was a bit too much.
Do you
to
know
be
what's
honest.
mad is that they don't even have to physically have a branded cup anymore. Have you seen that? What they can do?
No.
Especially when it's a soap opera, like a flip over, but especially like it was an Australian writer was talking about this, or producer was talking about this. Say Home and Away, right? This is mental. They do a bidding war, say on a Friday, when they've all the episodes filmed for the next week, and it's a bidding war is put out there going, who wants to pay the most dollars for the laptop that's going to be in scene 2 of episode 3 on Wednesday? We'll say whatever characters got it on their lap, because we will CGI in the brand of your thing on their lap. So everything is either green or white. The cereal boxes have green or white, and they can be CGI'd in afterwards over the weekend, so that when it comes out, say Nestle want Nesquik, they want it, or Kellogg's have beaten them to the punch and went, no, we're going to offer $200,000 for that episode. We want all our cereals in that. And so when people are eating, a lot of the time it's like blank boxes.
And they just put it in digitally, yeah.
They digitally superimpose it.
That's mad.
Isn't that mental? So they put a bidding war up on, say, the Friday, and it's brilliant to hear. It's like,
God
why
almighty.
not? Yeah, why not? I hope
That's
they're making a fortune. I hope they're making a fortune. But I never asked then, how did because there was a few, like I was talking with Norma, because I was on Bridget and Eamon with Norma, who played Ivor's mother in Damo and Ivor.
Oh, Norma Sheen.
She had a mental audition. Like, she was doing handstands and everything, was popping pills. She went into character deep, like Daniel Day-Lewis stuff. Like, how did Oisinn come about then? Like,
well, with Damo and Ivor, I think.
Did you even have any clue what you were going? Because I had already done some Damo and Ivor.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember, because I remember when I got the audition, I kind of looked up things on YouTube, and I remember seeing your face on some of the sketches. It was I flew in from London, and I just kind of went in, and I think I actually read for Tarquin first.
Did you?
Yeah, I think that was the character, and it was a nightclub scene, I think. And,
right, yeah.
And then I was, just out of drama school, so I really put myself in the mindset of being in a nightclub. So I screamed all my lines. I think the line was like, "Yo, I really think I could be a model."
Oh,
and
yeah,
I literally,
yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and Louise Kiley was like, "Okay, yeah, and yeah, let's do this, and action." Yo, Ivor, do you think I can? And I just remember everyone behind the desk putting their hands on their ears.
Oh, jeez.
And going, okay, you need to take it way down. You need to take it way, way down. I was like, oh, okay, I thought we were in a nightclub. Okay, yeah, sorry. And then I kind of walked out, and they came back and said, oh, do you want to read for this character instead? And it was Oisinn. And then, I just kind of read it, and then I went back, and they wanted me to send over another tape, and then, a week later, I was flying back to film it. And it was it did so well. Like, it was such a great show. People loved it, and it was one of those shows going into. I didn't really know how people would find it. I felt like I was almost playing like a stereotype of myself, almost, of the background.
To be honest, I was playing this. I was like, sure, if you think about it, like, I was one of the few people in the cast. Okay, Grano was actually originally from Monaghan, like Roots McCabe, like, but I wasn't even from within an ass's roar of where we were supposed to be from. Like, and you were like, I'm from Shankill, just up the road. And like, Andy was from the road, essentially, we were filming on.
I know, madness.
Louis was from Ballymun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it was just funny just to...
They were such obnoxious characters to play.
Oh my God, they were like cartoon characters.
Yeah, I was just like, oh God.
And that's, that was... The great thing about that was my first proper dalliance. Bits and pieces of sketches and stuff, but proper dalliance and acting. But because it was such a ridiculous level of a character, there was no going too big on it. Like,
exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because
you couldn't.
They
couldn't go big
there
enough.
was no need at any point did you ever feel tone it down there a bit, because I was like, absolutely. It's just because it was in my head. It was like, well, this is the ridiculous version of what I think.
Yeah.
So it was quite easy. But I remember I went in. I didn't know what to do with the audition because I'd never really been. So I just went, well, I better just stay in character. So I walked in with like the Helly Hansen jacket on, like, and the dubs, and I went in and went, Jesus Christ, the smell of absolute knacker in here. And I think the thing is, I'd already played Tarquin.
Just have to be a dickhead.
Yeah. I just went, to be honest, and they were like, so how are you all right with everything? Well, yeah, to be honest with you, I feel like I need a tetanus shot just looking at you. Do you know, just...
God almighty. But they exist. Those
Do
stereotypes
you know
do
I
exist.
swear
They're
to God,
out there.
They
Like,
say go to a place in your head if you can of who you're thinking of. And I remember years ago playing rugby against. We weren't in the same league or anything. Like we were just. I think we were like an under-20 Shannon team, but we played under 19s or something. But I think we played lads from Blackrock or Michaels, and you didn't go to Michaels, did you?
no, I didn't. No.
Yeah, there's a Y in the middle of it in case you're wondering. Like that's how Michaels. I love the phonetical writing that your man does. That Paul Howard does. Michaels. But we were playing one of them, and I remember because we were like, we'd all a rough edge to us anyway. Like, but I remember first tackle, and you always kind of want to say hello to your opposite number, like a small bit. We're down the ground, there's a ruck over, and it's just kind of a little shot to the fucking chin on your man, like which is standard. It's fair game, like it's standard practice. And I remember your man going, "Get off me, you fucking peasant."
He did not call you a peasant.
I swear to God, I remember one of the lads. The guy who went on to play for Ireland. Actually, he was like 23 stone. His hand was like God reaching down because we were on the ground. He was standing up over us rucking, and I remember he was the biggest human I ever, and still to this day I've ever met. He was 23 stone, fit, right, fit. He's size 16, and his hand just can't seem to come down out of the heavens and just reached around the side of my face and caught this guy on the ground by the throat and just kind of picked him up and just like threw him like a child. Jeez. But I remember thinking, I wasn't even mad. I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever been called. Like, get off me, you fucking peasant. It was, and that stayed there. I went, I'm going to use that. That'll be used for something. Yeah. And it turns out,
it came in handy. There's a reason for everything.
There you go. And you need to log these people in your head, like the maddest fuckers you meet.
Oh, it's all research.
Leave them there, like.
Yeah.
So remember,
soak it up.
We're living in a ridiculously posh area right now out in Enniskerry. But they say it's Wicklow, but it's really say it's South Dublin.
Yeah.
But like I remember we share a driveway with this woman who's ridiculously posh, and it was one of the few Saturdays I'd had off a couple of months back, and it was I was going into town to have a couple of pints with the lads, so I was waiting on the taxi at the bottom of the driveway, like, and they had a wedding, like they're in their 50s or whatever, but they were getting married anyway up at the house, and there was cars pulling up, like, and it was all like people you wouldn't believe exist in Ireland. Like they're so West Brit, it wasn't even funny. Like, young man, the wedding. We're looking for the wedding. Is the wedding near here? I was like, oh, it's just up the driveway. Drive on. And it was like, no, thank you.
Drive on.
Yeah, quite literally. And that was at least 5 cars were that attitude, that vibe. Like they all thought I was the gate man. Like.
God almighty.
And I was just in stitches going, this
you
is
can
actually,
only laugh.
Totally. I wasn't getting anyway annoyed. I was just logging it in my head going, I'll need you fuckers at some point.
Yeah.
And my revenge would be I'll get paid for whatever
exactly.
I'm fucking doing. Like. But it was it was a fun, because to talk, then you went, because the last time we drove down for the press release and the photos, we drove down from Dublin, and you were telling me about, which I've been saving till the end, because what are we in? Well, we're over half an hour in, David. This is great. Because Amazon Prime you mentioned, and obviously there's Amazon Prime, there's Netflix. Now YouTube, keep an eye on the shit out of us wanting us to pay for YouTube. Mm-hmm. But there's a valid point for it because they're making their own stuff now, which I didn't know. And
yeah, YouTube Originals. So I'm not sure what their long-term plan is, but they're kind of going up against the giants like Netflix and Amazon Prime and all those shows. But yeah, they're producing their own kind of high-budget series now. And one of which was, the one I worked on over the summer, which was called Oisinn, and it's a new original sci-fi series. I didn't have the biggest part in it. I come in one episode, and it's similar to Lost. It has this flashback sequences throughout the episodes. But it was a dream job. I was in Cape Town filming for 3 weeks, and
the story leading up to it, because were you still in the UK? Where were you when you got it, basically?
Oh, when I got it, I was in actually Dublin at the time, but like auditioning is an awful process.
I tried to explain this to people, like where it's like just I don't know, you need either to thick as skin or be slightly stupid or something, because if it doesn't shave a little bit off your life going into, and it's like especially when it's a rough one, you know what I mean, where all 4 of them are looking down at their desk and
exactly
like, your name there and go for it.
I think it's a skill that has to be nurtured and developed over time. I really, if anyone ever asks younger person who wants to go into the business, and they ever ask for advice and say, what do you need most as an actor, it really is mastering rejection. If you can master that, you're halfway there. But it doesn't really get easier as you get older, is the honest truth. It's not as if you know, especially I think when you get very close to a part and you invest emotionally in it, of kind of putting yourself into that headspace of getting it. You know, so many actors get so close to so many big jobs that can change their lives, literally change their lives. And it's, you know, it comes down to the most ridiculous things. But I remember for Origin, it was I didn't invest that much in it because it's not as if it was a massive part. But there was a part I did read for in it that I read for a few times, and I actually did not end up getting it.
Right.
And so I finally got over it a day or two. It usually takes a day or two feeling shit, and then you're back on it. And then I got a call about a week later saying, actually, that we've written a new part and we'd like you to play it. So it was kind of one of those moments, one of those phone calls you won't forget. You're just
You'd
like,
get a fucking mental condition.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you would.
You would. Swinging in the other direction.
I know. So yeah, I went over to Cape Town. I got to, I got to train on horses for a couple of weeks before filming.
This is where I've been telling people this. Like it's like this is because you're back in leafy suburb of South Dublin, and you reckon it because you were telling me that you were going to have to get the car and head down to Wicklow to train because they were going to have you on horseback. You'd never ridden horses. They were going to send you down to Wicklow, but then they
so they get in touch and it's like, so we need you to be able to gallop and canter on a horse. So we booked you some riding lessons in Wicklow, and it was he's a well known in the film industry. I think he helps out with Vikings and I forget his name, but he's a brilliant horse trainer. And next thing I'm like, geez, how am I going to get to Wicklow? And
because you hadn't gotten your license at this stage.
I hadn't got my license, no. Hadn't got my motorbike either, and it was.
And you didn't even own a horse. Had you got a horse, you didn't even know how.
No, exactly. So next thing I had a chauffeur pick me up, the white gloves, everything, in like a 182 Mercedes Benz with a bottle of water and the newspaper that morning. And this is like, this is the extremes of the business. Like, I'm picking up my social welfare, 3 days previous or something, and you're going into this mad environment. And
all of a sudden you're Conor McGregor.
Yeah, exactly. And I was flown business class over and back to Cape Town.
Please explain business class on Emirates, because or most of the people listening to this will never ever be on.
It's a different
business class.
It's almost uncomfortably amazing.
That's the Irish.
Yeah.
That's the Irish person in you won't allow it.
But you just go in and you're given a glass of champagne. You're on arrival.
Is the carpet lovely?
The carpet. I took my shoes off immediately. Yeah. I literally got off the plane like, that looks like a lovely carpet. I'm taking off my shoes and I'm taking off my socks as well. I'm walking to my seat. I think the air hostess probably knew that. Oh, this guy's a bit of a. Yeah, he's won something, or she actually started explaining the cutlery to me. I'm not even joking. She's like, "This is because I had shorts on as well. Like, I like these Hawaiian shorts on. Sitting beside God knows who.
I just imagine you all white-eyed looking around.
Yeah.
Schnappelberries tastes like schnappelberries.
And you have an electric seat that you can put back as far as you want. So
like into
pretty much
bed
a bed.
position?
Yeah.
Oh my
full
God.
Bed. The flight over and back was one of my favourite bits of the job. Like, it was ridiculous. It was like, make it last longer. Let's take the long way.
And Cape Town then for 3 weeks.
Cape Town for 3 weeks. Yeah. So
who else is in? Was it Origin? Is the name of it?
Yeah, Origin. So Tom Felton would be one of the kind of lead characters in it. Draco from out, yeah.
Yes.
Lovely guy, like that. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. And
see Matt's going.
He's a bit like, he's different, like
strikes me as a good crack, but kind of mad.
Yeah, he's really lovely. Like, he'll always greet you with a big hug, like, and you only know him a day. Like, all right, Davey, come here, cuddles.
And of course, the Irish and Davey is like, I know, a handshake will do.
Yeah.
Handshake will do.
Oh no, I went straight over to him and gave him a biggest hug.
Did you?
He's a lovely guy, and actually, there's a
that's
fantastic.
The lambda in you. That's the lambda.
I know exactly. Yeah,
hug everybody.
Hug everyone, and. Fantastic Irish actress in it called Siobhan Cullen, and another Irish guy.
Familiar sounding name. What was she in?
She's done a lot of theatre. Like, she's kind of just hit the screen big time this year, and she's pretty much leading one of the lead characters in it. And then Fionnuala Flanagan was actually in it as well.
Class.
Yeah, who is
a legend,
one of the most lovely people, and a living legend.
Yeah.
And I was hanging around with Fanula for all my time off. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we just went around Cape Town with each other. Like, went to the zoo with her, and went to what's the name of the island Mandela was?
Fuck.
Oh, it's left me.
Something Island. Robin Island.
Robin Island, yeah. We went over there.
Thinking
and
of a bird of some sort. And the only one that come to mind was a crow.
Yeah, there you go. Crow Island. And she is such a legend. And I actually only went over to see her in New York a couple of weeks ago. I went to see her in the Ferryman, which is one of the best plays I've ever seen. And yeah, so that was lovely, like getting to know her, and it was a really nice job. In terms of where Origin is going now, I don't know if it will get a second season. It'll be interesting to see how it's received. But the first season, yeah, is 10 episodes, and it was released on YouTube about a month ago. So,
class.
Yeah. So.
Did you actually end up doing much horse riding?
I didn't do as much as I would have hoped after all that training. We had stunt doubles, yeah.
But now you know how to ride a horse.
I know, yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the thing, we all try to kind of rob some merch or take something from every job we do because it's free shit.
Exactly.
Like, now we're drinking out of UCH free coffee cups.
Yeah.
The happiness that brings me, that's a €2.
I know, exactly.
But the happiness because you're getting free shit.
Yeah, it's amazing. Once it's free,
but you actually walked away with a talent.
You walk away with, I walked away with, like, I always wanted to do horse riding. Like, I did a bit when I was a kid, but, like, not to the extent I did it in Origin. Like, I was literally doing it for 2 weeks in Wicklow before moving out to Cape Town, and then I had another week of stunt training in Cape Town when I was doing it as well. So you're kind of getting paid to. I was getting paid for something that I was willing to pay for. Like,
yeah.
It was bizarre, but like that's it. When you're like, it's the best job in the world when you're working.
Yes.
Like the biggest challenge of doing it is not being able to do it almost, and that's why it can also be the toughest as well. Like it's unpredictable. Like where you're going to end up. Like,
have you done Panto before?
I actually have. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. So I've done not in Limerick. This is been great fun. Like, I've been loving this. But before this, I've done the Gailey for a couple of years.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah. So the last one I did was Robin Hood, which was a couple of years ago.
Was it?
Yeah. So I did that there, and then the first Panto I ever did was in the Olympia. I think I was 16. It was Jack and the Beanstalk.
Who were you in that?
I was the evil landlord, Smilton.
Smilton.
Yeah. He was a very complex character. People never really understood.
So many layers.
I know, so many layers. Like misunderstood, and I love it. I really do. Like, I'm not sure how you like.
This is going to be.
This is your third
year here.
Yeah.
And mine came about really from obviously comedy, but I was actually heard first on the radio. I had kind of a little piece every like Monday morning on 2FM with the gang until I got too big for my boots and got too funny. That's the truth of it. Like,
yeah.
And you don't want to do that.
No.
But look, it was good, great crack, and this came out as a result. And I was just going off on one, and it was all about Tom's ranting. It was essentially a precursor to my podcast happening.
Yeah, okay.
And it was just Tom having a rant about the world, basically, and they would just chime at me, and it would all be, I'd have written it over the weekend what I'm going to do, and Trevor, who's co-producing this, is he heard it and went, we need that guy's accent.
Yeah.
So he went, I got this email randomly through a booker who books me for the odd gig. He's not an agent. And he went, I got this email. Do you want to have a look at it? And I thought, I have no idea what I'm doing with Panto.
Yeah.
So they went, but the only other, do we want to see you in the next 2 days? Here's the script to have a look over. And I didn't really, so I actually learned it off book.
Yeah.
I didn't, so I walked in without it. They were, do you need a script? I went, no. Do we not learn everything? Because the only other audition really I'd ever done was Damo and Ivor, and they wanted me off script for that. Or off book. So I went, so they were kind of, okay. So it just had the crack. And I think Robert had no idea what he was dealing with. Like, but Trevor and myself turns out his entire family are from like a mile away from where I'm from in Tipperary. Like, so it was,
small world.
But and it linked in well. Like, you'll hear, like, when I turn on the ridiculous accent here in Limerick, you'll hear the reaction. Half the audience have that accent.
Yeah.
Like, so it's, But it's
a lot of fun, isn't it? Like, it's very enjoyable.
Unbelievable. Do you know, that's the thing, the difference between that and telly. Like, telly is grand and all the rest to be able to watch it forever afterwards. Like, but you know yourself, cut, lads, all right. You know, and you could be sitting there for 2 hours, 3 hours doing nothing, even a day. But here, it's as close a thing to stand up as you're going to get. You're getting instant gratification. For your work.
Exactly. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, completely. And it's something that I think it's a very special place, Panto, over Christmas, because there's you're providing so many happy memories for families. And a lot of kids there are probably experiencing live theatre for the first time, and I think there's kind of an unfair, unwarranted snobbery when it comes to Panto in my acting world, anyway.
Oh, there definitely is, yeah. And I wouldn't even have considered myself an actor because I hadn't done enough and I hadn't trained or anything like that. But prior to this, I was like, I'd never even been to a Panto. So and as you get older, I start to appreciate more things, and I'm probably less critical of people and things now, because you're like, you don't know what that person is doing or what they're going through or whatever. But then now I'm starting to think, you don't know what anything is. Or you should never look down your nose at anything unless you've had a go.
But some of the most talented people I've ever met are Panto veterans.
Oh my God.
It's incredible.
To be able to sing, dance, and act
and to be sharp and to be able to play off an audience and to also have the perseverance to be able to do 2 shows a day. Like, it's hugely physically demanding as well. Like, I just think it's I mean, that's why all Pantos right over the country are being packed to the brim.
This one is sold out like back in November.
There you go, because people love it, and I just think it's gas if you ever meet an actor going, oh God, I never do Panto. It's like, mate, you wouldn't be able for it if you tried. Like,
valid point. Yeah,
you just wouldn't be able for it. It's a high skill set that you need to be able to do it.
It blows my mind. And I mean, the thing is, I wouldn't even attempt. Right, you can sing, right, and there's a bar of 1 to 100. I'm probably somewhere between 25 and 32. So if I can find that bit, and it's probably a rebel song or something, I can sing there.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even attempt. That's like turning up without your football boots to a Premier League game, like, in my opinion. So I in my thing, I go, I better be ridiculously funny then.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
But look at Richie Hayes. Like, his voice is ridiculous.
I'm waiting to hear him at full bore.
Oh my God!
Like,
almighty.
He sang at our wedding, sure, and we had.
Did he sing?
He wasn't our wedding singer, but I'm sure he knew the wedding band, because the wedding band they'd won. It was Conor McKeown.
Yeah.
So, and they've won a fair few things. Like, they're a fairly tidy wedding band. And Conor knew Richie, and Richie had said it, Tom, he used to have drinks. He was at the wedding, and he'd said, if you need me to jump up there now and sing a few songs, I said, Richie, Jesus, it's a night off. He went, and I kind of knew he wanted it.
Of course he did. He had his dancing shoes on.
By pure, I was out the side of the house. It was Pannerstown House we got married at, and I was out the side chatting to one of the lads, and I see the Conor McKeown coming out to just having a drink of water and on the phone. I was like, is the band still going? Next thing I could hear Richie, and we could all hear Richie, and even Conor heard Richie and went, oh. It was like, you're singing with my band. You know what I mean? It's like a guy, like, sleeping with your wife and being way better. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause, like, Conor's class, but oh my God, Richie's voice is just so silky. Like, you know amazing. What I mean? Like, he's and then to turn around and be able to do it on stage, and like, he's probably a guy who probably hasn't gotten a fair shake of it, because he's one of the most talented people I've ever met.
I know, it's insane.
And then he does all the tech stuff as well. He does all the effects on it.
It's a different level. But I just love sitting in rehearsals of it, because it's kind of nice for us, because
it's a treat.
Yeah.
It's an absolute treat. Like.
Yeah, and I come on to the end of the first half, so for like anytime the show starts, I'm just watching it. Really, I just find it hysterical. Like, I feel like a kid again when I watch.
I was watching you watching it the other day, and I was going to be Davey right now, because you were sitting on a windowsill beside me, and you're leaning forward, going, oh, "This is great." There was just a brightness in your face.
You're back. I'm like, behind you. But yeah, I just find I love it. Like, I think that's what's actually. It's not that I was surprised in any way, but what really struck me when I came into this was just the caliber of the people you're working with. It's like, oh wow, like, this is some cast.
It's
like,
savage.
It really is.
And he's found a good balance too. There's a sound bunch of bastards. Everybody's a sound skin, like,
exactly.
Because I mean, in everything you're going to come across, there's be one or two weirdos, or people who are kind of just up themselves, or just have something going on in their head, or just aren't person or whatever. But there's a sound bunch of bastards, isn't there? Like,
absolutely.
So it's going to make life very, very easy going for the next couple of weeks.
I can't wait, That'll be great crack.
Do you know what? We'll stick, because there's always a feeling, because we're quite literally now we're in a lecture hall where Richie has been doing some recording for voiceovers afterward or prior to us, and at any stage we could be called to stage, Davey. So
yeah, fair play.
We probably should make a move before we see a set of eyes coming around there, kind of waving at us or whatever. Absolutely. So, Davey, do you need anybody? What? Yeah, like in the coming years, where's best to keep an eye out for Davey?
Well, I think if any actor could predict their months ahead, like
you couldn't really
well. But you know, I'd love to do more theatre over the next year, and I'm hoping to produce one of my own plays in the coming year. But other than that, it's just kind of like take the days as they come, man. And
beautiful, yeah.
And yeah, it's an interesting time now. I think there's a lot of uncertainty with this whole Brexit thing happening. I wonder how that's going to impact the TV and film industries. But you know, it's actually quite interesting. Just a quick note that like a lot of stuff that is produced in Europe now, you have actors within the UK that can't sign on for 4 or 5 series deals that are filmed in Prague, for instance, because they can't guarantee that they'll be able to work in the EU. So like, so it's a really interesting time. Like and I think it'll be hard to predict where
we may have
any of us end up.
A ton of tests.
But you know, who knows? It could go in our favour.
It could go in our favour. We can all do British accents when it's needed.
Yeah,
we can all do British accents when it's needed.
But yeah, no. But yeah, who knows? I'm just going to focus on this for now. I'm going to have a great time over the next few weeks doing Snow White in Limerick. So if anyone's around, come and see us.
Thank you very much, Davey.
Cheers, Tom.